This program lineup is brought to you by Vision Express.
NBC's Wednesday primetime lineup comes into focus. Focused.
KUAM TV8, first on Guam. KUAM TV8, first on Guam. KUAM News headlines are presented by Calvo's Insurance, protecting Micronesia for 85 years. Matson and the Adai Itano program. Apply at matson.com and McDonald's of Guam. I'm loving it.
Ahead on KUAM News Primetime.
Unsealed court documents reveal a corrections officer and inmate accused of smuggling and distributing fentanyl and other drugs within the prison. I'm Jonagan Charfus, and coming up tonight, that same inmate busted with contraband yesterday during a shakedown.
The Superior Court halts the Attorney General's Dignity Project, prompting the AG to accuse the governor of playing politics while vulnerable populations remain at risk. I'm Nevaeh Anderson with more next.
Viva! A cultural festival is coming to Tacoma, Washington, aimed at uniting Chamoru people and islanders alike in the diaspora. More on the exciting event coming up.
Hafa and good evening. Welcome to KUAM News Primetime. I'm Destiny Cruz-Lingus. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. A federally indicted corrections officer still on the job, an inmate caught again with meth and smuggled cell phones. And now serious new questions about public safety as dangerous drugs like fentanyl and contraband continue slipping into Guam's prison system. Tonight, Jonagan Charfus has the top story.
Newly unsealed federal court documents are raising serious questions about control, corruption, and possible inside help at Guam's prison. Back in May, KUAM first reported that a corrections officer was under federal investigation, but the details were limited. Now the indictment is public, and what it reveals is deeply concerning. Department of Corrections Officer Trevor Wolford and inmate Edward Demapon, both charged in federal court with smuggling and trafficking fentanyl and a dangerous synthetic opioid, which is linked to overdose deaths in the U.S. Federal charges include conspiracy to distribute fentanyl, distribution of fentanyl, conspiracy to distribute the synthetic opioid, and distribution of the synthetic opioid. But here's what may shock the public most. Wolford, federally indicted, is still employed by DOC. Director Fred Bordallo Jr. confirmed with KUAM that Wolford is currently assigned to the parole office.
Because this is pending adjudication process with the federal district court where Officer Wolford was indicted, and he's not allowed to go into the Department of Corrections, into the main housing units, be part of the security force there in Manila on the DAP Correction Facility, nor is he allowed to go into the Hagania Detention Facility in the areas there where individuals are detained.
As for Demapon, the inmate at the center of the case, he's been caught again and again with contraband. In late April, Demapon was caught trying to flush a black cell phone plus a meth pipe during a cell search. Then just yesterday afternoon, KUAM confirmed officers raided his cell in Post 6. What they found raised even more disturbing questions.
We have an ongoing internal affairs investigation we initiated yesterday. And thanks again, my commendation to the commander of operations, Major Helen Azama, who instructed for a shakedown to take place in Post 6, the area where Mr. Demapon is at. There's a criminal investigation now because we notified the Guam Police Department on that. That will be an ongoing criminal investigation. We'll see where that leads.
How is it that smashed cell phones, SIM cards, chargers, and yet another meth pipe were discovered in Demapon's cell on his bed after all this time and after federal indictments? How does this much contraband keep slipping through DOC security?
Our speculation always is, and that's why I have our internal affairs, worst case scenario, we hope it isn't the case that he's being helped by a corrections officer, because that will be a correction officer who we will, of course, there'll be severe consequences. They're not above the law.
So the questions remain. Who's helping? How does the contraband keep coming in? And why, despite federal indictments and repeated busts, does the PRIS problem seem far from over?
Each director has had these same kind of challenges. Each of us, we know there are that the majority of the officers in our department are dedicated and will not cross the line, and you can't compromise them. My confidence with our current security force right now of corrections to include our parole division. I'm confident right now they can keep this facility secured and continue to do the good work of interdicting some of these contrabands.
As the federal trial for Wolford and Demopon approaches, Guam's prison system faces scrutiny like never before.
I want to share the public with our budget and with everything that's going to come ahead. We're going to see some real good improvements when it comes down to the infrastructure we really need.
Jonagan Charfris, KUAM News.
A retired Guam Police Department officer is facing serious allegations tonight. 60-year-old Robert Danilo Negrito has been charged with harassment, a petty misdemeanor, after court documents say he sent threatening text messages to a woman earlier this month. According to the complaint, Negrito warned this woman not to, quote, push his buttons, threatening to use a gun on her. He also reportedly sent a photo of 3 firearms with the caption, quote, "My 3 new friends." The woman told police she feared for her safety after learning Negrito had access to weapons. A witness added that Negrito has a history of becoming angry when he doesn't get his way. Investigators later spoke with the firearms' original owner, who confirmed the weapons were given to Negrito as a gift before leaving the island. Police took Negrito in for questioning. He admitted to sending the messages and showed them to officers. According to court documents, Negrito, who retired from GPD last year, is now scheduled to appear in Superior Court. As KUAM reported, the Superior Court of Guam's preliminary injunction at the request of Governor Lou Leon Guerrero has put Attorney General Doug Moylan's $1.1 million dignity project on hold. Now the AG says his office will bring the fight to the Guam Supreme Court if necessary. Nevaeh Anderson has the story.
Attorney General Douglas Moylan is firing back after a judge issued a preliminary injunction halting his dignity project, an initiative aimed at housing and supporting Guam's homeless and drug-addicted population using opioid settlement funds. The Superior Court sided with the governor, citing procurement violations and lack of proper authorization. Moylan says the ruling is a political move that puts vulnerable lives at risk. He argues the project was lawfully approved by the Opioid Recovery Advisory Council, or ORAC, a body created by the Guam legislature to manage opioid settlement funds.
The fact that we actually had to go into court and that she dragged me into court without even suing the Opioid Recovery Council that approved this in 2024 kind of reveals exactly the frame of mind of our governor.
Moylan adds that if the governor simply doesn't agree with his office's method of solving Guam's addiction crisis, then what are her solutions?
This may not be the way that you want it to go, but what idea do you have, Governor Leon Guerrero? How are you going to fix things? They're coming up with nothing.
He goes further, accusing the governor of blocking the project for personal reasons.
But it seems to say that when the ORAC Council said to help these people, that the governor can say, I don't want to help them because I don't like the Attorney General, or I don't like what he stands for, or he won't give me my hospital. Therefore, I'm going to check him and not approve something that the council asked him to effectuate.
When asked about the court's concerns over his office's transparency and their procurement violations causing, quote, irreparable harm to the office of the governor, as stated by the court's order, Moylan didn't hold back.
Give me a break. The authority or the reputation of our governor is not her reputation, Lourdes Leon Guerrero. It is every person that voted us into office.
He also reaffirms his assertion that the contract was legally sound under Guam's laws and that for the past decade, the legislature has said the governor's signature is not needed on procurement contracts. If it were, then other government contracts and payments made on them that have not been signed by the governor should also be ruled as illegal. With the governor now calling for legislative oversight of the OAG, Moylan says he welcomes it. Nevaeh Anderson, KUAM News.
Time for a quick break. You're watching KUAM.
Win one championship, you're celebrated. Win twice, they call you a hero. 3 times, they say words like legend and dynasty. 4, 5, 6 titles, they'll say enough is enough. But when you've won it all 7 times, what's left to say? The trophy speaks for itself. Introducing the full lineup of Ram trucks. Ram, 7-time winner of Motor Trend's Truck of the Year.
Sometimes parenting can be hard. What should I be doing? The Guam Early Learning Council includes partners who can provide you with early childhood services and supports. We are here to assist. For resources and information, simply call 311 Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., excluding holidays. Early connection can change everything.
Being stationed on Guam, there is much to do on the beautiful island. But before you pack, sanitize any household items and leave any organic materials behind to prevent the introduction of invasive species. If it's not native, it could be invasive. Leave invasives behind.
New training location confirmed. The Mariana Islands. Before and after training, you will identify and sanitize your tactical gear to prevent the spread of invasive species. If it's not native, it could be invasive. Leave invasives behind.
NBC's Wednesday primetime lineup comes into focus. Vision Express. Fast, fashionable, focused.
KUAM TV8. First on Guam.
Pizza Hut is about to hook you up with more of what you love. Because when you order any pizza, we'll hook you up with a free pizza later. That's a pizza now and a free pizza later. Get even more with the Hut Hookup. Order now, only on the Pizza Hut app. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Fiscal Fitness is made possible by our partner, Coast 360 Federal. Together we thrive.
It's Wednesday, and this week in Fiscal Fitness, we gain some important tips that will help tremendously when it comes to student savings.
Hey everybody, this is Fiscal Fitness, where I get the pleasure of hanging out with my friends here at Coast 360. And Drew, today we're going to talk about student savings, right? A very, very important topic because it's getting young people to actually make good decisions at a very critical time in their lives.
Oh yeah. So when it comes to accounts for students, you want to have both the savings and the checkings. Reason being is your checkings is for any of your daily expenses, food, gas, things like that. There's no fees for it going in and out. Whereas a savings account, that's for your future. You want to have things set automatically so that your paycheck goes into this, or at least part of your paycheck goes into savings, so you don't really think about it, and that way you're less inclined to spend it, so that those savings start to grow over time.
Absolutely, and we're not just talking about collegiate students, because I mean we know undergrads have a lot of they're setting themselves up for the future with savings, but also they've got a crazy amount of expenses with books and supplies and whatnot, lab fees. So how about getting back to the undergrads, incoming college freshmen? What do they have to do as far as planning their expenses, possibly having credit, and then making sure that they track that so that they're not overspending?
Okay, so when it comes to incoming college freshmen, they have to worry about, of course, the books, the materials, the classes, and things like that, but also on their credit. In the future, what they don't really tell you is after you graduate, you start getting a real job. You need to start using your credit and start building your credit, because in the future, you're going to want to buy cars, homes. So start as soon as possible, even though you have your standard checking and savings. Also get like a small credit card. It doesn't have to be very big, and then over time, as you start buying your expenses during your college years, it grows your credit.
Yeah, exactly. And is being a undergrad too early to establish like a credit score? Because if you said you have a very a modest credit card and everything like that, can you still build a respectable credit score based on that?
Yes, absolutely. So there's no time where that you need to get it as soon as possible. The earlier that you establish your credit, the more experience you build, because what lenders look at is how long have you had that credit card, or how long have you had that line of credit, because it shows more experience. If you have more years you have it, you're seen as a more experienced borrower, so lenders are more inclined to give you a little bit more, or give you certain loans that an inexperienced person would not normally get.
Okay, so how can collegians, actually have a good time in college and but still be fiscally responsible?
Well, you can do a lot of things without spending money. When it comes to college, you're there to learn. You're not there for fun, though. It's encouraged to have fun during your college years, but you want to be able to focus on school rather than focus on the party life. So definitely budgeting for the party time is a good strategy. The fun times overtake your financial responsibilities.
If we're talking about college again, or junior high kids going up into high school, what mindset shifts should these kind of young people have for developing good financial habits?
Yes, so one of the tips is definitely save and budget. In college, you don't really think about it too much. You get paid from your part-time job and you spend it on food and gas and whatnot. But when you get older and you graduate, you're going to start to realize that you're going to start to pay for things that you would not have normally paid for in college. Things like, a car loan, a mortgage, your utilities, expenses that mom and dad normally takes care of. You're now going to have to deal with that when you graduate. So definitely start now. Like, you don't have to be paying for anything, just put it away in savings. So that way when you graduate, it's time for, the big boy bills to come in and for you to make payment, you're ready.
What is one thing that you wish you could have done different as far as your finances from when you were at UOG?
Oh man, I would honestly start saving and investing. So had I invested more when I was in college, I would be in a much better position today. Whether it be, stocks, retirement, high yield savings, different types of accounts that make your money work for you. Had I started earlier, I would have had much more today, 6 years later.
Absolutely. And if everybody who graduated this year in the class of 2025, we applaud you guys. We're super proud of you. And you know what? Being financially responsible and fiscally fit, which is why we do this segment, is a way that you can honor your parents for getting you to this point. So congratulations, grads. And Drew, thanks as always, bro.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Fiscal Fitness is made possible by our partner, Coast 360 Federal Credit Union. Together we thrive.
An upcoming festival aims to unite Chamoru and other island communities in the diaspora for a powerful day of cultural celebration and solidarity, proving that home is never out of reach. Here's more.
For many Chamorros living far from the Marianas, home may be thousands of miles away, but in their hearts, it's never out of reach. On June 21st, that sense of connection will come alive at Chamorro Day on Marianas y Cultura y Manumoru, a cultural celebration hosted by the nonprofit organization Guma Imahi, supported by the Asia Pacific Cultural Center and Tacoma Creates. For the first time, the festival will be held at the Star Center in Tacoma, Washington, bringing the spirit of the islands to the Pacific Northwest. Joel Larimer is the group's founder.
We're excited gathering the Chamorro community, not just from Guam, but also from the CNMI. This is why we didn't call it a Guam Day or a CNMI Day. This is why we called it a Chamorro Day. So it can be more of a unification type of gathering. But it is also open to the general public, which is also to let them aware of who we are as Chamorro people.
From traditional foods to handmade crafts, even genealogy, the event promises to be more than a festival. It's a homecoming, a celebration of culture, shared history, and the deep-rooted values that connect islanders everywhere.
When we say Chamorro Day, it's whether you are Chamorro by blood, you're Chamorro by heart, or you've just grown up on the islands. So this is something for them to celebrate. As Un Marianas and as one people.
Another thread in the vibrant tapestry of Chamorro culture, music and dance. Island icons Jesse Bias and Ruby Santos will headline the festival, bringing their timeless melodies to the stage. For Larimer, it's a full-circle moment. The name Guma Imahi, meaning images, was inspired by the duo themselves.
Music is so beautiful, it's so soothing. It just, no pun intended, it just takes you back. We would be the ones to travel to San Francisco. We would travel to Las Vegas, just to do performances to share our Chamorro culture along with them. But like I said, they've been a part of the group since the way beginning. And this is something that we just wanted to go back and tell them, thank you for this name, Imahi, meaning images, and creating, giving us a new image of who we are.
And of course, the island flair will be on full display with official Chamorro Day shirts designed by Fresco Clothing available at the event. And with so much to celebrate, Chamorro Day promises to be a heartwarming gathering filled with pride and island spirit. For more details, visit www.gumaimahi.org.
School is out, but the learning doesn't stop at the Guam Police Department's Project U Safe School initiative. Today, on Wednesday, teens getting a special visit from the Guam National Guard, who gave an important lesson on the dangers of youth vaping. Mitsuki Hirayama has more.
Summer is in full swing, but that's not stopping some students from learning at the Guam Police Department's Project U program. These teens getting a special visit from the Guam National Guard. The lesson today, the dangers of youth vaping.
Today we learned that the different side effects that vaping has on your body, such as you constantly forget and you have really bad mood swings.
Incoming Notre Dame High sophomore Alejandra Matern admits she's seen some peers vaping at her school. It's a pressing issue island-wide. According to the Guam State Epi report, Guam's youth have the highest rate of e-cigarette use globally. A study conducted in 2019 found that 68.9% of high school students and 49% of middle school students have tried vaping. It's why these teens are learning what to do when their peers are vaping and how to address the situation the right way, without anger or judgment.
I'm learning that your body language and the way your attitude does have a really big effect on how others will perceive what you're saying.
And they weren't the only ones learning today.
With today's presenters, we're actually learning and we're being taught the curriculum that we'll be able to teach the kids throughout our term in the schools.
GPD Police Officer Austin Cruz is a student resource officer at Southern High School, where vaping is also a concern.
I want to say yes, I do see it within the hallways of Southern High School, and then I also have some of the admin turn in those devices to me.
As an SRO, he's noticed students find it hard to approach officers in full gear on campus. But being part of Project U gives Officer Cruz more confidence to talk to the kids outside of the uniform.
Because coming out from patrol, all I've done was patrol for 5 years. Coming into Project U and SRO, it's a big change. Project U really helps with us building that connection with the kids.
Project U will run until the end of the month with other safe school partners. Meantime, as for Matern, once a new school year comes around, she'll be ready to start a conversation with her friends about the dangers of vaping.
We're learning how to address situations in those instances, so I do think that I can be able to stop those situations if it does come my way.
Mitsuki Hirayama, KUAM News.
Now for a look at your world at home. Here's a view of Maina River.
Honey, do you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
GU Self Storage, located in Harmon next to McDonald's, offers a variety of storage units. With rates starting as low as $95 per month, we offer complimentary use of dollies, push carts, Klein's hand trucks, and pallet jack, with a fully covered loading and unloading areas and ADA accessible units. We offer 24-hour CCTV surveillance monitoring, alarm, and individual pin-coded gate and door access, because your safety is our priority. GU Self Storage, voted PICA's Best in 2024. Call 671-648-7867 today.
Bye. I wish they could move back home.
Should we build on a honeymoon? Yes. Yes!
First Hawaiian Bank knows that family comes first. That's why our bankers work with you to make your what ifs a reality. personalized service, and digital tools, all under one roof when you bank on the best. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes.
Wesley kicks out. Simon, big three. Oh, baby!
What's up, guys? I'm Noah Tenorio. I'm a senior. I play basketball for the funded Winners Friars. How I handle pressure in those big-time moments and big-time games is, I just embrace it, right? I love the feeling of the pressure. It's something that you can only feel during those types of moments. Overcoming that little nerves and anxiety, using it as fuel for me, and also just, praying to God. That's one of my biggest rituals, right, is just praying to God before every game and just, asking Him for guidance and strength during these moments. So for my typical training regimen is I train a lot of strength and conditioning with Coach Steve over at Paradise. I've also had a lot of help over the years with Z Strength. So, they just help me making sure I move well, making sure my, parts of my body are injury prone. So how I stay motivated on, off days or days where I'm not producing as much as, being there for my teammates. I'm one player, there's 4 other players I share the court with, and it's my job as their leader and captain to make sure we have a smooth and solid game, right? So making the right plays and just doing it all for my teammates is what keeps me motivated. The most challenging aspect for me in my sport is, just always trying to stay positive about things. Basketball is a really funny game. It can go great one game and then it can go terrible the next game. So always got to think positive, being strong for your teammates, and just having a great mindset going into games. And it can be tough and it can be exhausting over time, but you just got to find that intrinsically motivated part of yourself to continue the game. I want to first shout out God. He has brought me to all the places where I am today, and then I want to shout out Father Duenas, shout out my teammates, my coaching staff, shout out my family, and shout out my mom. Some advice I would give to younger athletes is to just embrace the moment and embrace learning experiences and just to take as much opportunities as you can. Just keep grinding, stay away from a lot of bad noise. The outside noise will get to you. Just prepare yourself mentally, and you just gotta really want it. At the end of the day, there's a million other kids wanting what you have, so it's about you if you want it or not.
Your mind up, waste time. I'm prone to that. Do it all the time. Keep your guards up, or wait in line.
Wesley kicks out. Simon, big three. Oh, baby!
Can somebody please help me judge this chicken?
Juicy, seasoned.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the hair.
Now, who you think made this?
I don't know who cooked it, but they know how to cook.
Boom! Oh, McDonald's! Yes!
Are you serious? You don't like Mickey D's? Okay.
Guess what? I got something special for y'all. Double dip!
Cause that nods mean people who love make crispy strips.
How you feeling now? Yeah.
Caught in 4K.
Make crispy strips, man, from Mickey D's. They here for it.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Don't need a work break, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. Whoa. You can count on me. You can count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Introducing GTA Air Fiber. Air Fiber uses next-gen wireless technology to bring an ultra-fast and super reliable internet connection to your home through the air. No wires required. With speeds of up to 500 megabits per second that cable and satellite can't match. Now, the whole family can stream, game, download, and surf the web like never before. Elevate your connection with GTA Air Fiber. Call us or visit gta.net today.
To the skies, everybody, with all of us. And the Drone Corps is showing us how to actually take advantage of this amazing technology, but to do it the right way. Remember, there are a lot of things you have to know. It's not like operating like a little RC, everybody. When you operate essentially a helicopter, there's a lot of things you got to know. And the Drone Corps is going to get you ready. They're going to show you how to be creative, how to be helpful. There are a million things you can do with a drone. And if you fly a UAV, you can actually have a very lucrative career too. So make sure to hit up the Drone Corps and make sure to check out UOG because they are going to show you all of the things that you can do with a drone. All right, there's a Pride Mini Carnival coming up, everybody. June is, of course, the month of Pride. We celebrate diversity and love. Love wins, everybody. So make sure to check out the Mini Carnival because it's going to be at the UOG Fieldhouse, free for everybody. The entire family, all ages are welcome. Make sure to check it out. We will celebrate Pride, games, food, performances, and much more. Thanks to our friends for putting this on, hosting it over at UOG. And there is a seat at the table from our friends at the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce. We have 4 amazing guest speakers, including that lovely lady there in the upper left. That would be Miss Darby Manglonia. But Sharti, Kersha, and Trisha. I know, I can't see this far, that's why I paused for a minute, but I know all of them. They're fantastic speakers. They're amazing business people. Most importantly, there are absolutely amazing chamoritas, and they're gonna show you their creative talents and how you can harness that and turn your idea into a very profitable business. So make sure to get your tickets and sign up and register to be there today. And make sure to watch News Bites every day, because that's what we do, like right here on this show, about this time, right before birthdays, okay? Melissa Terlahi, happy birthday to you, and we hope you have a fantastic day filled with love coming from your entire family. And to this little one, this is our news nanny. This is Major Matabusan, who turns 1 today. Your family says, we love you so much, and we're so thankful for you coming into our lives a year ago today. May God continue to guide you and enjoy every moment. He has the world's proudest papa. I swear, Mitch is super happy, and he should be, because he's a wonderful little boy. He's so fun to have around the station, and he's got at least 8 Ninas, and that's just in the newsroom, all right? Everybody loves Major. He's a wonderful kid. Mom, Dad, your entire family from both sides, and your KUAM family are wishing you the very best from your fresh family. Want to wish your special someone a happy birthday? Just click the QR code here on your screen or email birthdayclub@kuam.com.
Happy birthday to everyone celebrating out there, including our KUAM kid, Major. We hope you have a happy birthday. And that's your primetime show. Thanks for watching. I'm Destiny Cruz-Lingus. Have a safe evening and stay beautiful.
Hafaday Guam, I'm Jason Salas with KUAM. April 2025 marked the 50th anniversary of the fall of Saigon, and in that time, a very important moment in Guam history too, because leading up to the fall and for about 4 months afterwards, Guam played a role in Operation New Life, where our island gave shelter, hope, support, and friendship to over 110,000 Vietnamese refugees for Operation New Life here at the Asa Memorial Beach Park and up at Anderson in Jigo. And up in Dedido at the Micronesia Mall right now, there's an exhibit that captures this moment in American history and tells Guam's role in Operation New Life. It's what we're going to explore in this week's episode of The Hub. We are here in the Operation New Life Center. It is amazing, this collection of memorabilia, of documents, of history, and a part of Guam history. And the gentleman who is the historian and the curator of all of these amazing works right now and this center is Jeff Meyer. Jeff? Very good to see you.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you so much for putting this together because, you know, I'm 51 now, and I remember when I was taking Guam history, of course, you know, Liberation Day for us is coming up. That was the most important day of the year.
Right.
But Operation New Life was either taught just anecdotally or just, you know, not at all, which is really sad because this is a significant moment in Guam history that needs to be talked about.
Right.
Yeah. So what do we have here at the center, and what journey has it been for you personally as a student of history to assemble this?
Well, we had a display, I believe 3 years ago at the Sands Plaza for, basically it was all of Vietnam War. That's how I got first involved with this. far as curating, a lot of this stuff is, not all of the stuff is mine, but a lot of it is. And some of it's actually donated by folks who actually evacuated their Vietnam refugees that are living here now. A lot of these clothes and stuff like that are actually been donated. And the stuff here behind me is part of the Vietnam veterans from Guam setup. So there's other things here besides my stuff, but definitely been a very interesting ride, just learning about the events that happened from April to August of 1975, and just realizing we had 111,000 people here when the population of Guam at that time was around 80,000. So, I mean, it was more refugees here than there was actually people living on Guam.
Exactly.
There was 14 to 17 two-story Butler buildings down there, and could hold up to 5,000 refugees there. And then Aroti Point on Naval Base Guam reached a max of 39,000 people living in tents in mid-May of 1975. So just thinking about people living in tents, that many people, you know, it was just a lot of.
And of course, with this Operation New Life Center being located in a mall, like literally and everything. I mean, you get shoppers, you get tourists, you get passerbys, you get people just like, you know, going for a good bite to eat. You know, there's a student graduation as we're speaking right now and everything. But what do you see as for the people that walk by and maybe then, you know, hesitate or want to, you know, stick their head in and actually like see what's going on?
Well, I like to point out that on the outside, where usually like store displays are supposed to be, is people can actually walk out there and get a photograph with the background of being at Aroti Point, Naval Base Guam. We have tents painted on the walls, and we got a cot laying there, and people can actually walk in there and, you know, kind of feel what it's like to be a refugee, but get their picture taken through the glass. And then on this side, we have a picture of an old painting that was given to, who's the guy who used to write Pipe Dreams in the PDN?
Joe Murphy?
Joe Murphy.
Joe Murphy.
Yes, so this painting was given to Joe Murphy, and this artist ended up going...
The great Joe Murphy, yes.
He ended up going back on the ship, and we've never got any contact from this artist again. He went back to Vietnam. Plus, we have the B-52 cockpit that people can actually sit in.
That's
and
amazing.
Act like you're flying. And yes.
Well, my former ROTC instructor, you know, retired First Sergeant Dan Mendiola, was the gentleman who organized the Veterans Memorial over in Manilao. And you know, and he actually got like some of this. You know, it's got that gun turret there. You know, you've got the wonderful memorials. But kind of in the same way, you've actually got memorabilia straight from that period of American history.
Yes.
How'd you get that?
Well, those were the old ArcLight Memorial B-52 used to sit out there on the ArcLight Park there. People would drive in and be onto the right side when you're driving in.
Back when Anderson had the open houses every once in a while.
There's that old B-52 sitting there. We had to scrap it back in 2014, but that seat is actually from that aircraft, the very first one. And it's also the seat from the very famous photo of during Vietnam. There's a daytime photo of the B-52 dropping a whole string of bombs. Probably the most famous picture of B-52s during Vietnam.
And equally important perspective, yes, you know, the servicemen who actually served during that time.
Yes.
That was not just a mission to them like any other, you know, sortie or something like that. That was a very, very critical job that they had to do.
Very humanitarian, and yes.
Absolutely. Final question. What has this meant for you personally to be able to say, to just be involved with this in any capacity?
Well, for me, it's like I feel like I've actually been there talking to people. I was only 11 years old, not to date myself, but I was only 11 years old, and I vaguely remember hearing about this in the news. But now to be actually here and meeting some of the people that put this together who were refugees, and through the years as being a historian, it's been very impactful. There's one other gentleman who actually stayed at Assen, and he was a member of my church, and he was also a refugee, and he was okay until he got to Assen, and then he lost it. He just remembered the hills, and he just remembers the gratitude of the military and the Chamoru people that helped them out. He was like 10 years old too, like same age I was at that time. So.
Well, Jeff, thank you for keeping history alive for the wonderful Operation New Life Center here at the Micronesia Mall in Dededo. Thank you.
Thank you.
Summer's here, Guam. Get ready for sun-soaked days with Kmart. From beach gear to backyard barbecue essentials, Kmart has it all at prices that keep your wallet cool. Stock up on snacks and fun kids activities to keep them entertained. Kmart is Guam's one-stop shop for summer fun. Plus, military and frontline workers save more with our exclusive discounts every day. Shop now for your summer essentials at Kmart, the 24-hour superstore. Summer vibes, Kmart style.
Super speed your life with Docomo Pacific Fiber Internet. Get symmetrical upload and download speeds up to 5 gigs. Get started with Fiber 500 at $145 a month, Fiber 1 gig at $215 a month, or Fiber 5 gig at $299 a month. Plus, get 2 SuperPod 6Es with any plan, and a free EcoFlow River 3 and bonus welcome kit with 1 gig and 5 gig plans. Experience tomorrow's islands today with Docomo Pacific Fiber Internet.
NBC's Wednesday primetime lineup comes into focus with Vision Express. Fast, fashionable, focused.
KUAM TV8, first on Guam. Welcome back to the Hub. Well, now that you've seen inside the Operation New Life Center here at the Micronesia Mall and seen the exhibit, seen a lot of the artifacts that have been presented, I'd like now to introduce you to Dr. Nam Kim, whose deep emotional connection to putting this project together and to documenting the history and the importance of this place and gather all of these different artifacts has special significance for him as he's tracing his own family's life and his own experience as a member of Operation New Life. Here's my interview with Dr. Kim.
Jason, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for your presence here, Doc. And your story is amazing because the good doctor has joined us on the island here because he is a study of anthropology and your own family fled Vietnam when Saigon fell. And you have now come back to actually share with us the amazing memories that you have, but also solicit from our community people that may have of those things so that you can do your work and essentially connect history.
Right. That's right. Thank you so much. It's a privilege to be here and to be speaking with you. So as you mentioned, my family and I left Vietnam April 29, 1975. This was the day before the city was taken. We fled by a helicopter off the rooftop of the USAID building and got out. I was only a year old at the time, so I don't remember any of this. But we left Saigon. We went through different vehicles all the way out to the coast, and we landed on the USS Midway that took us to a different ship, eventually took us to the Philippines, and then we were brought to Guam. So we were here in May and June of 1975 as part of Operation New Life. Mm-hmm. In the last 10 years or so, I've been documenting my parents' family histories, their respective origin stories in Korea as well as in Vietnam. So I have mixed ancestry. My father is Korean, my mother is Vietnamese. But in doing this research, one pivotal episode of their life histories would be our time spent here. And that got me reading about the history of Operation New Life and about Guam.
Now, by definition, they call it Operation New Life, but many of these stories have surfaced over the past few years. But I mean, for you, it's not just an operation. Obviously, this is your story, the story of your family. You've got some pictures. Would you mind sharing those with us?
Because I'd be happy to.
And as you said, you were an infant at the time, and you were probably too young to remember this and everything. But how does it feel to actually, to look at these moments in time captured, and then to be able to, to look back?
It's surreal. It's surreal to be here. It's really a privilege to be able to come back to our first point of our first destination, leaving Vietnam. And when you say Operation New Life, yes, it was an operation that was instrumental in helping people to leave chaos and start over, essentially. But the operation set us up for our new foundation, for our adopted homeland. So getting out of Vietnam, but going into the unknown, essentially, but getting to that life because of all the efforts, not just of the folks involved with the operation, but all of the people along the way. And this includes many local Guamanians that helped to run the operation, that volunteered at the camps. Mm-hmm. So for us, this is a matter of being here to also express our gratitude. Mm-hmm. So this is an image that my father took, actually. So this is my mother and me, probably April 29th, April 30th, right off the coast of Vietnam. We're already on one of the ships. He had his camera bag with him. when we evacuated. So he was able to snap photos along the way of our journey.
And it's so interesting, if I may, Doc, because like, you know, your mother is looking off into the distance, saying, like, as you said, we're getting away from, you know, from the chaos, you know, from that. I'm doing this for my family. You're but a baby,
yeah,
and you're just kind of like looking out at the water.
I'm oblivious to whatever's happening.
Yeah, it's an amazing image.
I know from speaking with my parents and hearing their stories that some of the feelings and the emotions and thoughts that were going through them as this was transpiring. And I'm guessing what she might be thinking at this moment is part of what she's described to me is this feeling of melancholy because she's leaving her homeland. Not only is she leaving her ancestral homeland, she's leaving back family, her parents, her siblings, without any knowledge of what's going to happen to them once we leave. And this is us going out into the void, not knowing where we're going to end up. And so my suspicion is all of that is sort of flowing through her head in this image.
It's immeasurable courage and bravery to make that decision to do that, but obviously, you know, for your family.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure there are many stories of different families making similar kinds of decisions as they contemplate this massive dislocation, displacement. So this is one image. I can show some more.
Yeah, please.
So this is an image. We landed on the USS Midway aircraft carrier, but then we were transferred to other vessels. This is one of the vessels that we were on. My father took this image, and you can just see the mass of life, the overcrowded conditions, and then more people coming on these barges to join us on these ships. And there are makeshift camps on the ships. This is an image of us now having reached Guam. So this would be at Oroti Point. And this is the tent city as things were still getting set up. People were waiting. There's my mother and me at the time. They described to me that we were essentially always ready to go. So even though we had gotten to this safe haven, we didn't fully unpack things. We always had, every day was spent just kind of waiting in line for things, for services or food, but also waiting for our number to be called to know, are we being moved to a different location or are we potentially being moved off island?
And entrusting your lives literally in the hands of strangers who would
absolutely
say, you know, we have something for you, or this is where you might, you know, we're sending you to go for safety.
Right. Absolute strangers. Absolute strangers. So I can't stress enough just the gratitude that we have.
And that's part of your work because you are trying to reconnect with, you know, with other people who have similar stories that did flee Vietnam, or people that may have been involved
That's
in,
right.
you know, the strangers essentially.
That's right. So I want to, before I talk about that project, I want to share something very quickly. Sure. This is an image. All of these photos have me and my mother because my dad was taking those photos. This is the only image that we have of him actually during the Exodus. So there's me. There's my father. And this is aboard the USS Midway, the aircraft carrier. And the only reason I have this photograph is about a year and a half ago, I was doing research about the USS Midway and its role in Operation New Life. I realized that the Midway is now parked right off the coast of San Diego. It has a museum and has a library. I contacted the librarian and I asked if they had any reports or archival materials that I could take a look at. He directed me to a website that's run by someone out of Minnesota, I believe. And on the website are images of the Midway throughout the course of American history. I found the section that was Operation New Life. I started clicking through the thumbnails, just hoping that maybe I catch a glimpse of something related to us. And then this image popped up. The caption said nothing about us. It just simply said refugees in the hangar, Operation New Life. But I recognized myself and my father from that photo. And it got me thinking. I was shocked to have found it. I don't know what the odds would be to find something like that. But if we were able to find something like this, just floating around, how many other artifacts, stories, how many other materials are still out there, whether it's related to our family or to other families?
Yeah, pictures, documents, you know.
Everything.
Perhaps even video, maybe.
Absolutely.
Taco Bell brought back crispy chicken nuggets, and I can't believe how good they are.
Why can't you believe it?
Because you're Taco Bell. Taco Bell.
Yeah, but a taco place can do nuggets, right?
Yeah.
Mike's Hot Honey Diablo sauce is awesome.
Okay, they're good, but we're not a chicken place.
When did you guys become a chicken place?
Chicken? Can't a taco place do good nuggets? Are we not allowed to do both?
What do you mean?
You think it's cool to do both, right? Why are you looking at me like that?
Are they okay?
I don't think so.
We're totally a taco place that's a chicken place that's also a taco place.
Now here on this very hallowed ground at the War in the Pacific Park here in Assen, I'd like to introduce you to a gentleman I interviewed last year who is himself a Vietnamese refugee who came back to Guam after becoming a medical doctor, visiting this very land, the very same place that gave him and his family shelter 50 years ago, coming back for the first time. Dr. H. Bryant Wen visited Guam recently, speaking at the Hafaday Pacific Medical Conference. He's a man who's seen a lot with a unique connection to the territory, having returned and set foot on the island that he at one point called home after a half-century away.
My family was, one of the refugees at the end of the Vietnam War. So the historic date for us is April 30th, 1975. But my family, we were able to leave early since my mother worked for the U.S. government. And then when we heard that Saigon actually fell, we left. And that's when we went to Guam.
Dr. Wen was 9 years old. Coming back to Guam, he walked the grass of the War in the Pacific Memorial Beach Park, where he briefly lived.
Then we were at Guam about at the beginning of May. And we stayed at Camp Asan, which I believe now is Asan Beach. We stayed there for like a month. And then we went to camp, I think, to Anderson Air Force Base for another week or so, waiting to be transported.
His family ultimately settled in Southern California, where he went to school and distinguished himself. He's now a faculty member at Loma Linda University, where he's done research on the body reacting erroneously to infection, the potentially lethal condition known as sepsis.
Yeah, so the management of sepsis right now is antibiotic, fluids management or blood pressure management, and source control is what we call it. Take out the source of infection. There has been a lot of research in the last, I would say, at least 3 or 4 decades, looking what we call novel therapies. Novel therapies mean, is there a specific drug that can target the disease? And we have a number of them. I would say several dozens that's been researched. Unfortunately, none of them has held up because we don't truly understand the unifying mechanism of sepsis.
After working as a software engineer, he shifted focus and went to med school. Now, he may have pivoted professions, but he maintained his innovative mindset that he now applies to the business of saving lives.
I'm actually exploring the use of AI for that. I think in the last maybe 5 to 10 years, there's a lot of predictive model that have been used to identify sepsis. But again, it goes back to the fundamental premise of what is the definition or how do I diagnose sepsis? So we don't have a gold standard yet. So when you have AI, it's just another predictive model that has to work off a gold standard. And when we're still debating about the gold standards, it's very difficult. But I think, yes, AI may add a different level of possibilities.
Guam's beauty is only surpassed by its hospitality. Please help protect it by not bringing any items that can have a harmful impact on the island. Remember, if it's not native, it could be invasive. Leave invasives behind.
New training location confirmed. The Mariana Islands. Before and after training, you will identify and sanitize your tactical gear to prevent the spread of invasive species. If it's not native, it could be invasive. Leave invasives behind.
All right, Hafaday, once again, my friends. Max Ronquillo is a man of many, many talents. You know him as literally the music man. He's been an educator. He has been a serviceman. And now through the Guam Philharmonic Organization, Max, you have been able to bring this amazing story that, we're about the same age.
Yes.
And when I was talking with Jeff earlier, and when we were studying Guam history, this was something that was not really touched on, and certainly the importance is off the charts. So good to see you again, and thank you for putting this wonderful project together. I know it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, it has been a global effort. We have scholars from around the world to make all of this happen. So And it is a story that needs to be told. And we went to the same high school, and whether you realize it or not, we were surrounded by Vietnam veterans, and many of them were not ready to tell their story about this episode in U.S. history. I wasn't even born yet, and I'm not sure if you were. Maybe you were just born at that time. But
I mean, the fall of Saigon, 51 years ago now. Right. It happened the year I was born.
Yeah. So, this really prompted with me working with a few collaborators to bring Miss Saigon to Guam, the musical. And I knew that there was a connection with Guam, but I didn't really know how deep. And as I kept digging, the fact that 115,000 plus people came through here, and just imagine the people of Guam coming out with their families and friends and doing the best they can to really live that Inafamaulik spirit, making it work regardless of the situation or lack of resources. We were not ready to take care of 115,000, but we did. And
we made it work. That's who we are.
We made it work.
And again, through the performing arts, you have been able to uncover and introduce to our people, this amazing story.
Yes, and there's a lot of musical nuggets in this exhibit. I'm wondering if people will recognize them as they go through the exhibit, because music is what has helped us uncover this story.
And no one knows that better than you about how music is the universal language, and again, played a major role in when the refugees were here and when they were given safe shelter, and ultimately when many of them moved on.
Right. So yesterday, I was just talking to someone who was part of the University of Guam Madrigal Singers. Of course, they don't exist today, but they were a group that went into the camp to go and perform. And then in one of our artifacts here was a newspaper article written by a student at GW High School at the time, speaking about a concert that was done by those GW students that organized themselves, and they went to the camps and they made friends, and they entertained each other. And I think there was also a photo of the interaction of maybe musicians from the Vietnam the refugees who played musical instruments, and they shared their musical talents.
So it's hospitality, it's food, and it's music, and that is the core of who we are, and being able to share, the humanity of basically saying somebody is in need, we'll do our very best to help you out.
Absolutely. And so this project, we pray, will allow the refugees to show true gratitude to those who were here, to say thank you, or in their words, "Gam ơn," thank you in Vietnamese, for what they've done to just open their hearts, to really give them a new life, because that's what they did.
And even though we've got this amazing Operation New Life Center here at the Microregion Mall, right next to Trove, it's, again, like it's on the bus depot side. If people have artifacts, photographs, old